Hey everybody, Josh here from Atypical Life. We have Asa. Do you want to give your channel name out again?
Acespud. There's nothing
Uh,
there apart from Mario Maker trailer.
and Jack Clark. Do you have a YouTube channel anymore?
You sounded unsure about my name there, like you didn't
Yeah,
know it.
it's is it Jack Clark?
Yeah, it's usually that. No, I do, but people could just find me on any social, just Clark of Salford. That's usually what I go by.
Proud of your place of origin, then, are
Uh, ish, I suppose.
you?
It's not point hiding it. I'm not going to be Clark of Albania. I'll just be Clark of Salford.
Yeah. So this video idea came about when I was thinking about what DC are going to be doing next. It looks incredibly worrying, to be honest with you. But after the success of Joker, I thought the future of these movies probably should be standalone genre pieces. And there's such a big catalogue of characters in DC who you could tell realistic, stylized stories with. I thought it would be a good idea to have a look at this.
What are the strengths of that direction, then, Flem?
You could just get a lot of character out of it, mainly. So if you do more focused things rather than trying to do Justice League first, then you're going to get some real characters that people care about. Now, the reason I have these two here with me today is I'm a bit of a normie when it comes to DC. I'm not going to lie. I like Joker, I like Batman stories, and that's about it. These two know a little bit more about the expanded lore, I guess, of DC, and they know more characters and stuff like that. And I wanted to ask if they had any ideas for for movies that would work with certain DC characters, and then maybe what genre, etc. So first and foremost, Asa, is there anything that springs to mind for you?
There's ideas that they've cancelled, isn't it? Like the Supermax one.
Mm.
Ah, yeah, that was a good idea. Green Arrow. That was actually a good idea.
I've said that's kind of weird for Green Arrow if it's going to be like, who are the criminals in that again?
Pied Piper.
I think they had I think they had like a mixture of both Green Arrow and Batman rogues, possibly. And I think it was meant to just be like a big Arkham type Supermax prison where they were just like throwing villains in there left and right.
It does just seem like kind of just like what exactly is the story? Because these would have to be criminals with like a personal connection to them. So if you're going to have, I don't know, freaking Clayface or Firefly or Batman rogues, it's kind of weird. And what
I think
it sounds like it would have a ton of exposition that would ruin everything. It's like, who he shot me in the knee. I took an arrow to the knee. Shut up. We don't know these guys. And it's just weird if we don't use his own rogues.
I think they kind of took that Supermax idea and they put it in Arrow instead, because there was a season where he was kind of just in prison, seeing all the old rogues that he'd fought over the series, and that was kind of going on for like a couple of episodes. So that's kind of where it works really with TV. I think, where you've got everything already established and people can go, oh, that guy was from season 1 or that guy was from season 2. Not in a movie unless it's like really late in, like a Green Arrow 2 or 3 as part of the trilogy.
You couldn't do that as a beginning. You couldn't.
No, you couldn't, because you're introducing everybody like you say, too much exposition. But go on.
You want Green Arrow trapped somewhere? How about the friggin' island?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? You could make an entire movie about the island, and then make an entire movie when he comes back. It was almost one of the strengths of the CW Arrowverse like show before it became a CW show.
I was about to say strengths with inverted commas.
Like, if you just watch all of the island stuff, it's pretty good. Apart from season 4 and maybe 3.
Yeah, well, it got to the point where they were kind of just like shoehorning what flashbacks to put in, because they'd kind of like oversaturated the island stuff. He had the island stuff where he was Cold Air for I think about 2 seasons, then he was off the island doing stuff in like China and other places for Argus, and they were like, they eventually just didn't know what to do, and they didn't feel like they needed them anymore, and that's where the show dropped off.
But him being trained by Shadow and fighting against Edward Fires, maybe getting Amanda Waller involved somehow. Yeah, you can have a messed up movie about all that. and then he comes back. If you want him trapped somewhere with danger around every corner, locking him in prison, you can kind of do that with every character, and I wonder how a good story could actually come about it. Like, what's next? Superman, Strikers Island, escape. And it's just...
It's Kryptonite prison, isn't it?
Kryptonite prison. him trapped in the Phantom Zone. So most of it just looks like a David Lynch film with weird red background. And he's just getting beaten up by Zod.
Oh my god. But no, it's like...
It worked for Batman with his video game.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Arkham. For a video game, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Movie, not so much, because there's actually that much story.
So that's what you do with Green Arrow, is it? Because to my knowledge, he's not even been mentioned in the DCEU movies yet, has he? Oliver Queen.
It's an origin story that's good to. It's a huge one. It's not a quick flashback. So it can have its own a true total origin movie where he doesn't put on the costume at the end, and you can have a lot of in Arrow. There were jumps and connections between the past and the present, and that was a good stylistic thing about it. You don't have to abuse that, but to emphasize time and a journey and all that is pretty good. I tell you what else though, it's quite. He's an openly lefty character as well, so you'd love him.
Out to me in public like that. Oh
We've
god.
talked about that, haven't we? I've told you about the Ninth Circle and an evil bank. And you're
Yes.
like, yeah. Oh yes, that does make it. Students would love that shit.
Oh,
you
yes.
just have him talk about student loans, and that's it. He doesn't fight anyone.
Oh yeah.
He wants free healthcare, Black Canary, and that's it. It can be like the Adam West stuff. How the plot would just stop, so he mentions about road safety or something. They may be drunks, Rob, but they're still human beings.
Didn't they do a story years ago? I think probably 90s, where it was like Arsenal, I think it was like recovering from heroin or something, and Green Arrow had to help him.
That was
sure he did a story like
Green Arrow crossover. Speedy is a junk. It's one of the greatest covers of all time, if you ask me.
That's heavy as hell.
Went over like that. That was pushing the boundaries after the comics code. Fucking ape shit. What they do? Yeah, rape and drugs, you.
Jesus. Oh.
Because everyone was reading that code. Was
yeah, we were discussing this before it began. Like, DC go a lot to those darker stories about that, rather than Marvel, where it's only Kilgrave who's really gone that far.
But Green Arrow has the identity of dealing with social issues.
Yeah.
So drugs and abuse and all that stuff. So that's a good direction that kind of defines him.
Good.
So embrace that, I'd say. And it's another reason why it seems good for the CW, except they decided to Dark Knight everything and then just turn it into random CW trash. Oh no, he had this sister who was addicted, but why not Speedy, for God's sake? Well, her nickname was Speedy. That's a weird... The choices they make in TV shows... Never mind. I've ranted about that all the time.
Yeah.
The choices are just broken. Weird.
Let's not get onto Batgirl, shall we? Not today.
Have her be Oracle, that's it. I hate Batgirl. I hate Batgirl because Batman is supposed to be scary and she's going around in purple and yellow and kind of ruining that image as a symbol of fear. Because I've never been on board with it. And, you know, you've already got Robin.
There's stuff you can do with Batgirl, obviously. It sounds like they haven't done anything good with her in the show.
You never be Oracle without her being in a wheelchair, you know. She don't have to wait until she gets shot and abused by Joker for it. Have her be the techie already.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, though. I was like...
Well, it probably has its fans, you know.
Probably like that.
I really like that episode of the animated series, the Batman animated series, where it was told through. It was like a vision, but it was at the time it was like you meant to think it was a real episode, but basically like Yeah, she dies, and then Jim Gordon unmasks her and sees it's his daughter, and then tries to have revenge against Batman. That was a brilliant episode, that, because I think she would probably die if we're going off realism, because she's extremely inexperienced and again parading around in some fucking cosplay costume.
What do they learn from that though? Like, does she learn that it's a bad idea to do that, or to tell her dad about it, or something?
Oh, I don't even remember. I remember I just remember like Jim Gordon gets Bane involved to get revenge against Batman, and they both end up like dying in this weird, creepy vision.
Jim Gordon hires Bane.
It was a cool episode, kind of cool, because it was cool with those shows because they were like meant for kids, but they actually told quite dark stories with some adult themes, which I think a lot of cartoons lack.
I mean, Batman dies a bunch of times in that show, if I remember rightly, especially that one where Joker's
did a whole thing. Yeah, they did a whole thing like Death of Batman, where like some Joe Chill style incompetent criminal ends up like killing him supposedly.
Yeah,
and that's quite a good episode.
Funeral for him. And Harley playing the kazoo.
yeah, it's all good. I love all of that.
And then he sticks the killer in the coffin. It's amazing.
Again, for a kids show, Jesus.
Bruce Timm stuff is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is it him who writes it? It's the other guy, isn't it, really? Because when Bruce Timm was on his own, he fucks everything up. So everyone's got the idea that it's the other guy, Peter something, I think. Really well. But yeah, the animated Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, absolutely worth your time. Get on it already, Flem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jack, does anything spring to your mind when I say that about stylized, character-driven movies for DC? Does anything come to your mind?
DC for me as a villain library, particularly in Batman, and just in general, that if they want to do character pieces, then they should just utilize villains that work for it. Why do not use like Batman villains? Why not using villains like Hugo Strange for a movie, or villains like Hush for a movie? Instead of using like recurring villains that they've used before, or use villains that nobody knows, but then make them your own character as a director for your movie, like someone like Clayface, or even use like the Court of Owls. But to offshoot that, I've always wanted DC to use a bit more of their goofier characters, like Booster Gold. I mean, I was in love with Booster Gold when I was reading those comics, and I think what a great character to use for a more light-hearted side of DC, to be honest. They've got Shazam, but Booster Gold's just sort of sitting there in the dust.
It can be unexpectedly tragic with Super Gold as well, because there's the idea that since he's a time-traveling character, his victories are sort of forgotten by everybody else, so he doesn't get the fame that he really wants.
Yeah.
Also his romance with Ted Cord.
Yeah. They don't use Blue Beetle really either, and Blue Beetle's been going, I think, since probably the Golden Age with the classic one, and they've had a couple of characters of like the Beetle mantle. That's another character DC just don't use, and the Atom as well. Don't really use the Atom, or even Captain Atom. Actually, don't use him either.
What would an Atom movie be? Especially
probably just
we already have Ant-Man, so there's already going to be
Ant-Man with more science, more physics-based Ant-Man. I don't know.
Another
Ant-Man for science nerds.
As soon as I've sneezed, so talk until I've done that.
Yeah, these are a bunch of characters I imagine.
It's fine. It's fine if you have one film.
Yeah,
you don't need a series. You don't. So what? Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern. You can make 3 films out of that because they're like the 5 most important heroes, and with them you have your entire universe. Humans, aliens, gods, time and space. But everyone else is a bonus. So Shazam can have one film. The Atom can have one film. It's fine. Ant-Man 2 was rubbish. It didn't need to be there. They've sort of justified it with the idea of like the miniverse and how that's the key to time travel, which fixed Endgame. But as a story, it was missable.
Yeah.
It's fine if you have one film. It's absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's shit talk, isn't it? You don't want to do that.
I think that's probably. I think for financial reasons they want to do sequels and that, but I think just purely from the story standpoint, it would be more fun to just have that one-off, and then you can maybe do the team-up movie down the line somewhere. Maybe bring that character into another movie to help out or something.
the Question. That's a character, by the way. I'm not about to make stuff.
I was very confused. Yeah.
You know about him, don't you, Jack?
Yeah. I quite like the Question. He was cool in the animated series, the Justice League, because he had his own little arc on the side.
That actor as well. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, I like the Question. It's cool. The Question's cool. Not the Renee Montoya though.
Nah.
Not that version of the character.
But
That's
Glenn. The Question is a full-on blue-coated noir detective with a fedora, but he's got no face.
Oh.
And he's an absolute conspiracy theorist. And you can honestly, you could just have him in a lot of stories related to so many other characters, because he'll be curious about loads of them. About Superman, about Batman. Batman was basically the Question in Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, he really was. The thing is, though, I feel like DC, what they do is they try to modernize. If they did do him, they tried to modernize the character way too much, so it doesn't become the character anymore. I feel like to make the character, he does have to have that no face, and he has to have that noir aesthetic to actually suit it. I don't want him to just be some guy called the Question on a forum that's investigating characters. That's what they'd probably do. That's what they'd do.
Yeah.
If they did it now, that's exactly what they'd probably.
Maybe he'd be a wacky teenager with a love story.
You'd want him to be more like Rorschach in Watchmen kind of thing, where 9 times out of 10 it is just.
He wanted to use the Question. He made Rorschach because he couldn't use the Question as a character.
Really?
Rorschach is based on Rorschach's based on the Question. You can see it quite visibly. They're based on the Question. He's got a face mask that covers his whole identity. Trench coat, fedora, quite dark. Believes in something that's considered a conspiracy.
Speaks just because it's quicker.
Wow.
Love that. Yeah. Do you remember when he burst out the fridge? That was freaking hilarious. Just hiding in a fridge waiting to ambush a retired gang leader.
Oh my god.
Oh man, that can't be amazing. Right. Flem, if you want to talk about villains who can have their own stories, one of the greatest examples of that I've ever seen is Lex Luthor, Man of Steel. I don't know who it was written. I've got the physical copy because I loved it so much. A writer made a Joker solo and a Luthor solo. And the Luthor one was even better because the Joker one was it was dark shit. It was like he'd skin a man and then throw him on stage. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jack?
Yeah.
Had sex with a prostitute. And at the end, they both meet the heroes, who are mostly absent, like cameo appearances. And the heroes get like one line that destroys them. And with Luthor, it's like their life in their perspective and their thoughts in their perspective. So he's got the company and he's got, and he looks nice to everybody. He's nice to the janitor and all that. Everything is secret. And, oh, fuck, what was my point? Basically, it was really good. It was a damn good story. It was how Joker is scary because he's out there and he's a friggin' demon and personifies the horror of Gotham and all that. And Luthor is more hidden. So Metropolis looks like squeaky clean on the surface, and you have to look for the darker shit.
I think that's very good.
It represented the villains, it represented the city, it represented their beef with the hero perfectly.
Yeah.
And there's a great big speech he gives to Superman, and he's like, you know what you can't see? My soul. And goes on and on and on about how he's an alien.
You're wrong. I can see your soul.
That's the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only caveat I say is don't have bloody Jesse Eisenberg play him. That's
Everyone said have Bryan Cranston, but again,
I don't think he wants to. I think he was genuinely approached.
I think he's kind of old for it as well.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be around Superman's age. With Luthor, there's two distinct phases with Luthor, right? There's before he's caught, and then there's after he's caught. Ever since he became post-crisis, where he became like company man. So you can have him in Lex Corp, and he owns Metropolis, and you can't take him down because it would be kind of like if you beat the shit out of Stephen Hawking. It's like everyone would be like, "Why have you done that? He's a criminal. Well, can you prove it? No. That's it. That's why you can't get it.
Yeah.
He's at the center of the board. It's his chessboard. And that's why, even though it's a really powerful hero, you can't really do anything. So, but then there's after he's caught, where he has the Legion of Doom, and he's got the mecha armor, and he's a full-on mad supervillain, kind of like with the Christopher Reeve stuff.
Yeah.
So that's 2 stories. You know what I mean? That's 2 styles you can have. There's a lot of meat there.
Yeah, I'd go with the first one. I really like the idea of him being untouchable. I like that.
Again, you can do a good drama out of it as well.
Yeah.
You know how Joker was about the poor? Make it about the rich. Make it about the 1%.
There you go. Because that's what we need.
The idea of class being like a theme, don't know, that could work.
Yeah, if you get the extremes of it, it works really well.
A good theme can really help make these connected. Like with with the extended universe, it was about godhood.
Yeah.
Tell you about that. It's about
Really? No, I'm joking.
And that was the theme of it until it fell apart, and then they were just superhero films.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I haven't seen... Oh.
Aquaman worked. Aquaman, what it did, it threw everything that works about Aquaman together. There's so much content in that film. They got the deep, all the Black Manta's there, Orem, all the kings, the origin story as well with the lighthouse. They threw everything. And I don't know how they'll do a sequel because they've saved no room for it. You know what I mean?
Use the fisherman.
They've got to invent their own shit probably for a fucking sequel. To be honest,
and
they did really throw everything into that.
Like I've said, you don't really need. It's fine if you don't have a sequel. I don't think there's any shame in that. It's good for one film. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Cyborg probably won't get his own movie now. And I'm kind of glad because I don't know what you could do with that unless you guys want to fill me in.
I don't like the fact that they put him in a Justice League when there's Martian Manhunter that should have been just as long as him and can be played by a black actor, to be honest. You know, I love Martian Manhunter. He's probably my favourite, and he can provide a lot of value to the team. He's a sympathetic character. He's a literal alien on a planet where he's been extradited by another species on his planet. You know, and he has to come to Earth in an alien. But you could do a great movie about that. But for some reason, DC go, Martian Manhunter. Let's get Cyborg instead.
Nerf him though.
Yeah.
Honestly,
he's actually. His weakness is fire. Though. That's quite a exploitable weakness. I think that's where he downfalls.
It's weird how powerful he is, though. Like, you've got humans on Earth, and just behind us is Mars, and there's a totally different evolution where he can shatter the planet, and he's a ghost, and he can shapeshift, and he can read minds. It goes on.
I think they just highlight. I think if they did him, they should just highlight him because obviously everybody has to have a different value to the team. Just highlight his shapeshifting, his mind powers, as opposed to the other stuff he does. I think
as well. Some heroes are more connected to the Justice League than others. Cyborg does not have much of his own mythos. He's very, very connected to the Justice League because that's where he finds other people. And it's like you could do one movie with him, and then it's just Justice League, and that would be okay. It kind of worked how he was like a main character in Justice League.
Yeah,
because you had his whole story right there. Basically, there's a lot of characters you could put in, but it's not like essential. It's extra, and there's characters that I just can't see being in the Justice League. But like Batman, he doesn't have the fucking time. Surely he's got his company to run. Gotham's a mess. The amount he would show up in Justice League, especially since he can't really do much in the battles. Let's be honest.
Compared to everyone else.
It's fine to have more prominent characters in there because Martian Manhunter can be there a lot of the time. Cyborg can, and then there's Batman, then there's Superman, and you don't have much room there. And so that's where you can have focus in these films.
I think they should put Batman in if they did it again, but then they should have a movie where it's basically Tower of Babel, and then Batman then chooses to leave, and then he chooses to then leave at the end, and then they just continue it from there with Batman not in it because he's chosen to leave and nobody then trusts him. That would probably be a good arc if done properly, to be honest.
Flem, you probably know about that, don't you?
I've heard the story of him leaving. I don't remember how it happened. So.
He analyzed each team member so that he would know how to take them down if they went rogue.
Yes. And then they find out.
Yeah. And it's another one of the things that they threw in BVS without room for it. There's so many frigging stories they just crammed in there. Oh yeah, he's paranoid. He's got to take on Superman. And it's not like a just in case thing with that. Because it was just a plan written on like some paper or something, on the computers, and he was paranoid anyway in that film, and it just didn't friggin' work.
Yeah.
Batman's not. They were. Well, I keep getting messages. Sorry. Shut up. I've said hello to Koi ages ago, and now he's saying hello.
But no, I like the idea that any team-up movie can be fluid with the characters they use, so you can vary it from movie to movie. You can have different people come and go from movie to movie.
Right. Thing is, with a story like Babel, you need setup.
Right.
You probably have to set up every character there as well. Otherwise, it don't work as well. Because you got to set up that Batman's a paranoid piece of shit. So he needs his own movie or two.
Yeah.
You know what? You know Godzilla versus Kong? Godzilla had 2 movies first. Kong had 1 movie, and then they fought. Okay, set it up, or else it's not good. But you're talking about solo movies. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, but no, it's a good wider point to bring up. It's a very good wider point to bring up.
I guess the idea Justice League is difficult to do if you want to solo things.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just off the table really, or crossovers are kind of off the table. If you want this idea, that's one of the weaknesses of it.
Yeah. But then I feel like we've probably had our fill of Justice League now, for the time being at least. You know what I mean?
4 hours.
So I think focusing on other solo characters again would be a good idea. What about Victor Zsasz? Now I bring up this point because he's
boring.
Yes.
He's boring, man. I told you. I kill and that's it. Fuck you. He's an extra character. He don't have his own movie.
They could easily do Mr. Freeze and just do Cold Heart just on live action, basically. Mr. Freeze is good because he's a villain you can sympathize with because because of his position and how he doesn't really do things. Well, sometimes he does, depending on the writer, but usually doesn't really do things with evil intent. He just wants to cure his wife.
He suffered from I have one story that's awesome but nothing else syndrome. Expanding on him is absolutely great. Wasn't there an idea with Gotham, the series, where he was experimenting and he was hiding that from somebody?
Yes, from his wife.
Don't get me.
That sounds
don't get me started on that. I fucking hate that show. So
it
really
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, but not on that show.
No, because they kill him off like a day or so after he becomes Mr. Freeze, if I remember rightly.
Oh, never mind then. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The hell are they?
They tended to do that a lot, especially towards the end of the show. They'd shoehorn someone in and then they'd kill them very fast.
Because you know what that show was? That show was just like getting a Batman mythos in a line, right? And then getting a butcher's knife and going, I'll have that.
Yeah.
Let's put that together. What can we do with that?
By the time Batman appears at the end with like the pizza symbol on his abs, there's no one for him to fight.
No.
This city needs its protector.
It's fine.
Riddler's just in his apartment eating ice cream because he broke it with Penguin or whatever. Freeze is dead.
Yeah.
Joker doesn't even exist anymore.
No, Joker didn't exist. He dies.
Actor guy.
What
were they thinking? I've seen like clips of it on YouTube. They had Joker, a pretty good actor for him, and then they replaced him with a twin brother who is deliberately based on Lecter. Obviously, it's so obvious when you look.
The rumor is basically when they did the deal to make the show, they could literally use any villain except Joker, but they hoped that would change over time. So they created Jerome as a character. And he's in like one of the final episodes of series 1. He has a very small role. He's sort of, his mum's killed, and then you see him for a scene and he gets arrested. And that's the end of him. And then he became really popular. So by series 2, they were really pushing DC. Can we use this character? Right? No.
So the rip-off Joker, who's not really Joker, but kind of is, but maybe, became popular in its own right.
Yeah. And then DC became adamant because Jared Leto was going to play Joker, right? You have to kill this character off. And that's why he gets killed off in series 2. And then DC allowed him back. And they shouldn't have, because everything they did since then was dumb as shit.
You can have Joker now. What? We've already done it. Okay. Twin brother.
Yeah. Oh, it's horrific. Some of the other stuff they did in that show, the stuff they did with Ivy was horrible.
Didn't she have like excessive aging or something?
Yeah, but she had the mind of a child. Just really creepy storytelling.
Ivy getting her own movie. Go. What do you propose?
Kills all the cops in the city. There you go.
Oh. Jack, think of that.
Is that it? Is that the whole plot?
Yes.
From start to finish? Just all the cops on one long vine just throughout Gotham, and then Batman's
it's one
like,
continuous shot.
I took the wrong day off. I took the wrong day off today. Fucking hell.
No, I don't know where you'd even introduce it. Do you do the Pamela Isley thing from the movies? Do you?
Poison Ivy is one of the most physically powerful Batman characters, and she could end the fucking. And that's never really been emphasized.
Yeah, she kind of just walks around being like sexy and like.
Yeah,
like,
we have
gay
Catwoman
these
for that.
days.
Make her the world ender one. Make her the world breaker. Catwoman is the hot one, and have her be hot as well. Don't hold back on that shit, because that's part of the appeal, you know.
Well, they're using her in the next movie, aren't they? They're having
have another persona with their emphasis with Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Like, the point of seducing people, if you can have mind control spores blown into their face, you don't have to do that. Catwoman does that.
Yeah.
It makes sense for her.
Well, I don't know. I think there's a bit of charm to that, I guess. But the point of her really is she has the power to essentially save the world from capitalism. That's literally her point. But like, but you've got to make her into a villain. That's the thing, you know what I mean? So how do you
when was she a
villain? How are we going to do that? So
when was she a communist? When was she a communist?
I'm not saying she's a communist. I'm saying like what?
She throws them in acid baths.
Yeah.
Are you saying for nature to survive, capitalism has to go? Is that the point you make?
She makes her own prison. She makes a gulag out of trees.
Big gulag.
No, you come up with something good here. You come up with something good here.
Yeah.
The environmentalist who's trying to throw Harvey Dent in a friggin' acid bath. Okay, and Batman just breaks him with chainsaws.
He's just got greenhouse gas bombs. That's all he's got.
Yeah, greenhouse gas. He fights it with pollution.
Yeah.
Nuclear power saves the day.
But no, like I think there's a story that could generally be told of her, like her hatred of cities and stuff like that. But you see a lot in the comics.
Reject humanity, return to Mank.
Jesus.
I think
come on, John.
I think Batman generally the direction DC want to go is more grounded when they're doing movies now. You look at the roster of the current the Batman that's coming out, and there's not really anybody there that's got like powers or anything like that's above Batman there really. I mean the Riddler looks like an amalgamation of Hush and the Zodiac Killer, less like the Riddler to be honest. So
right down to the grocery bag on his head.
Yeah.
Zodiac Killer's a fucking edgelord. Good God. Try hard. Incel. Right. There's how realistic do you want Batman to be though? Like a realistic grappling hook would be the size of himself.
Yeah.
It's okay. He's just holding.
Gotta do it 60s style, like really.
Make the Batmobile a Jeep. Make it a Humvee or something, you know. It needs to be a big fucking thing. It doesn't matter how fast it is.
You know what the reality is? It's going to be like a sponsored car, like for movie advertising.
I think they've shown it. They've shown images of it recently.
Have they?
Yes, I'm sure they have.
I actually quite like the Arkham Knight one because it's very maneuverable. And there's actually room for a prisoner as well. Like only 2. It would have to be a big thing in actuality.
Yeah.
That's realistic with Batman. Delicate
It's
balance
hard.
there, bro.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like, where does he come from when he comes out of the cave? Where no one can see him.
It's gonna have to be in the middle of fucking nowhere. Right?
You've got to think, right? You got this cave built, right? You've got systems for electrics. You've got this giant bat computer, giant database. You've got this whole circular thing that houses his Batmobile with lights coming down from the top. You know, the people that he contracted to build that surely must have gone, hang on a minute. What are we doing here? Why are we building this intricate bat cave with a computer with a bat symbol on it underneath fucking Wayne Manor? Hang on a minute. Can't pay for all that silence, so there you go.
It's kind of like
can't build it himself.
You know how New York has that park in the middle of it where it's just trees. What if Batman emerges from there and like so he comes from the woods and he's like this monster. Instead of just like a wall opens in a back alley where everybody would hear that mechanical shit going on and it would echo throughout the walls of the city.
The thing is,
from there and the security cameras catch it.
Well, people would still see him if he emerged from a park because it's like all the dogging spots around. They just go, hang on a minute, what's that? And they just turn. Then they just turn around and you just see this Batman emerge from the trees and they go.
Runs over a curious dog every time he emerges from there.
Yeah.
What do we make of him having like a gun in his bat symbol, by the way, in this news one? Or what it looks like he's got 2 guns put together in a bat symbol. It looks really weird. Certainly on the initial release pictures, that's what it looked like.
What do you mean?
I don't think it is actually that.
What is he, Glock enemies right now?
Let's say, they've gone the next level from the Ben Affleck one now. He actually carries a strap.
Yeah. And fuck, we're finally getting a Harley Quinn movie. Beretta and Forgetter.
Oh Lord!
Stop making him shoot people.
Yeah. Well, what did Zack Snyder say when he got asked about that? Grover, fuck up.
Yeah, something like that. When you've made love to this film like I have, I don't know what his rant was. It was like a copy paste.
Yeah. That's like a rant Dr. Manhattan would go on, but okay.
When you've made love to this universe and all of its atoms like I have. Right.
Oh, else?
Let's talk outside of Batman, shall we?
Okay.
Imagine Doomsday getting his own film and he's just wrecking shit.
Ooh.
It's pure CGI crap. And it's just like an hour and 40 minutes and it's just death.
I mean, no nuance, no plot, just dead.
No nuance, nothing. He just kills. That's how he's kind of, it's generic Doomsday villain incarnate, right?
Yeah.
Where there's no nuance at all. But that's kind of how you do it right. Because you can put him in other stories where he's there to emphasize the power of others. Like if you can have him fight Darkseid, you can show how powerful Darkseid is. There's some pretty good ways you can have crossovers come together and stuff. But yeah, there's not much substance to it. Again, he suffers from one great story and that's it syndrome. And I don't want to see Superman die or become evil again.
Yeah, we've just done it.
I'm sick. I'm sick to death of it. Stop it.
Get some
Stop
help.
making him evil or killed. The poor bastard.
I get the idea that they did that this time because they genuinely were worried on what they could actually do with Superman. A lot of people say he's the hardest character to write for. I don't think he is. But I feel like they killed him off for the reason of they had thought they didn't have anything for him. And then they realized, shit, he's worth a lot of money.
No, it's because Zack Snyder reads a comic, sees a page and goes, that's cool. And then picks up another comic, reads a page and goes, that's cool. Picks up another comic, reads a page and goes, that's cool. And then suddenly you've got this film that's made up of like 6 different comic books because Zack Snyder can't finish a full comic.
Damn.
That's what happens.
Snyder as well.
Yeah.
Schneid. So he's just browsing in a library, like, okay, I like that. That's cool. I jump from a building, you can do that.
These films are just like massive. These films are massive amalgamations of when he approaches DC. Apart from Watchmen, which he did well, but mainly Watchmen for me. One, you've got the comic book to template from, apart from like the obvious changes towards the end. But at the same time, the film's just stunning visually, really, and it has some great acting. And that's what he's good at doing with his cinematographer. He's good at painting. He's good at doing a really good visual image for what DC works with. But then to tell a story that's cohesive with what DC want, he's really lacked. Especially when you have to do it in a 4-hour movie.
What comic did he read where Batman was shooting people?
Well, there's Flashpoint with the Thomas Wayne Batman. he shoots people, and there's also the Batman R.I.P. where there's a Batman that shoots people.
He's also going to cling to the fact that Batman technically killed Joker in Dark Knight Returns as well. Like, yeah, that happened.
He just blew up motherfuckers in that film.
Yeah.
If that film were made today, it wouldn't get away with it. It's good at the time because there was no internet. And it worked. It worked then.
Yeah.
Everyone says that. It worked for the time, but it would never happen again.
No.
And like it wouldn't have happened if they were to make that Tim Burton Superman film with Nick Cage. The amount of shit that they changed in that, it wouldn't have gotten away with it. Brainiac with a gay sidekick.
There's a great video by Kevin Smith, like from one of his talks, where he talks about the actual plot points of that movie. It's great.
Yeah. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I go back to it every now and then.
Yeah. Give me my Chewie.
Have him fight polar bears.
Yeah.
Because polar bears are everyone knows how powerful polar bears are. Yeah.
They're the most powerful in the animal kingdom.
That's the last villain who would have a sidekick, by the way, Brainiac.
Yeah.
Purely independent.
That's a villain that they've not even attempted with Superman. Because he's such a good villain if you do him properly. He's actually they did him in the show Krypton, and that was actually probably the best part of that show that wasn't very good, because they actually did him quite well. To be honest,
I will say
great villain.
They were meant to use him apparently in the Superman Returns sequel that obviously never got made. Apparently, Brainiac was going to be the villain of that.
My spaceship is Mecha Cthulhu. Your argument is invalid. Now get in the bottle. That's who he is.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
I was going to ask you guys to explain a bit about him, just for the listeners and myself.
Isn't there a lot of cancelled films that would have had him?
Yeah.
Well, he kind of changes. I think in Rebirth currently, in some parts of it, he's not fully a villain. He's kind of just cataloguing things for some sort of higher purpose that we're not aware of. Ooh. So he's kind of just like the guy that's like above here, where you're like, yeah, he's a bad guy, but maybe we're just not on his level.
He's got,
and he does just like collect shit in his giant fucking unstoppable spaceship. He has like a whole library of warriors basically just on hand.
That's amazing. That's friggin' awesome. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
What Rebirth comic was that? Because I've got a few.
They were doing stuff where they had like the Source Wall stuff.
Oh right.
And I remember reading stuff because there's not much on Brainiac actually, but they were saying like Brainiac's doing something that's not necessarily evil, but it's not good either, where he's trying to stop this collapse of the Source Wall by cataloguing stuff or something along those lines. So he's got like some higher purpose apparently.
Wants to conquer entropy. Have everything last forever in his museum. That's a pretty good goal.
The opposite of Thanos.
The opposite of nihilism. But I'm smart enough to do it, so get in the bottle and you'll live forever. It's Toy Story 2, where you can be in a museum forever, but you're not doing it.
Christ.
He could be the setup for a lot of things, because there's at least one Kryptonian city that he has possession of, where you can have Krypton restored or returned in some capacity. And I think, I'm not sure if it was just with Justice League that there was the idea that Supergirl wanted to go. Oh, it was in the future, wasn't it? She thought, I don't want to just be here and be female Superman. I'll be a super in the future and save the future. So what if because the idea with Supergirl is she can't get along on Earth as easily because she already had life on not Krypton, it was like a sister planet, but the same species. I think it's kind of weird, isn't it? But like, so she doesn't adjust as easily, and she's more pissed off, and she's not a female Superman, basically. And because of that, she could leave. Again, you could have one story with that where she decides, I'm going to go beat the shit out of Brainiac and then restore Krypton or something. And it's like a bold decision where Superman's like, but we're family. It's like, no, I want to live my own life, bro. Because
that'd be good.
Gonna leave the fucking nest.
Here's a question. I think you and I briefly discussed this, Ace, but could you do a movie set entirely on Krypton? Do you reckon?
You could, but who's asking for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a point. Yeah, he's got a point there. I mean, Krypton's okay to a degree, but again, it falls because you've got all this like history and stuff that's kind of cool for some people, but for most people, they go, "I just want to see Superman. I want to see him fly through buildings fighting people. I want to see his shit on Earth. I want to see him, have blah blah with Lois Lane. All this. You don't get that with a Krypton thing. So
no.
Prequels are. Yeah, I don't think anybody's asking for him. Even with Gotham, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Why can't we just have a Batman?
No, there was a lot of things.
I just used to call that show not Batman because that's all it was. He doesn't deserve the title of anything.
It's like reading Batman. Garfield without Garfield.
Yes.
You've no comics, haven't you? Batman, no Batman. It's just Jim Gordon. Imagine that with Metropolis. It'd be even weirder.
That's it. Like, then I guess the wider question is there any location from the comics maybe that we haven't seen yet on film that you think could really come to life in cinema?
Okay. Well, there's a load with Green Lantern.
Yeah.
How would you do a Green Lantern film?
Ooh.
So I thought about you could make it about military life or being drafted and all that, because the ring picks you. You don't sign up for this shit. It picks you. It's like being drafted. So if you had a military edge to it, that would be a way of defining it. And there'd even be people saying, "Oh, it's not even a superhero movie; it's a war film," on a forum somewhere, and then that would be a great thing. But there's a lot you can do with it. It's just a weird concept. That's all it is. It's good.
Green Lantern does Pearl Harbor.
The galaxy works, so that's fine. And there's different lanterns. There's not one hero that you can focus on because they're different lanterns, and they each have different styles with their rings. I've told you.
You said
some are more creative with it, some are more practical with it.
I think if they did Green Lantern again, they should introduce the Guardians or presence of the Green Lanterns in a previous movie or some sort, because I feel like you do need some context to it more than what they can deliver in a Green Lantern movie.
Yeah,
I think for people to really get it,
it would be easy to make it seem like too overcrowded. Pacing would be one of your biggest struggles with Green Lantern, because it really is an entire universe. So where to focus on is a good. And get the fuck off Earth, by the way. This is like the opposite. Get off Earth.
Weren't they in?
Doesn't matter. Let's not pretend it does. It got destroyed even. That's how little it fucking matters.
Jesus. Weren't they in Justice League a little bit, to my memory? I can't remember the Snyder cut, but there were a few members of there was a Green Lantern in
there was
the
one
Whedon.
At the start.
Yeah.
There was one at the start in that big cool battle.
Yeah.
That was about it, I think, from memory.
Get Kilowog on the big screen because I love him. Get Kilowog on there. And
want to explain him a bit?
Oh, right. He looks like, what does he look like? Some kind of hippo, I'd say. And so he's a big guy with a Green Lantern ring, and he is, I can't describe characters. I just like him.
You just think he's neat.
He's the big bro.
Oh.
You know? Big alien, bro.
Brilliant.
Yeah, alien. Yeah, make the most of aliens. You need a huge budget because there's only so many humans with Green Lantern rings you can have before you're sick of them.
Yeah.
You can have like 4. Make sure those aliens are freaking characters as well. Don't give them just cameos. I want to know who they are.
I find out cinema in general just shies away from like using alien characters. You and I have talked a lot about how Doctor Who shies away from making actual aliens into characters or anything fleshed out at all. Like,
yeah. I wondered if you'd talk about Doctor Who, by the way.
Yeah, we're always going to loop back to that. Come on now.
Yeah, make them characters. Green Lantern actually does that with its villains. Sinestro is a good guy before he's a bad guy. Atrocitus is not a big bad, just rah villain. There was a frigging Green Lantern animated series where they turned him into that for some fucking reason. But he's pissed off and he wants vengeance, so that's what he does. And yeah, it's like the dark side in Star Wars, where you succumb to your anger, so you can beat the shit out of people who deserve it. So a character becoming a Red Lantern is always cool, and it's happened several times. It's like, oh yeah, now it's like seeing Luke in the dark side, and it's always
dark side.
Dark side. And he's got a pet cat as well. He's got Dexter. He's got a cat. Literally just a black and white cat. No, it's adorable. Wow, that's what it's all about.
I'm gonna throw this question in just when I was looking up like characters that haven't been used on screen yet. Would anyone be interested in an Elastic Man movie?
Plastic Man's better.
Yes, Plastic Man as well.
I think they made it like Elongated Man. Because they forgot they had Plastic Man. I remember reading that somewhere. It's like, what have you invented him for? Because, we've got Plastic Man. What are we going to do with him? I don't know. Have his wife get molested by Dr. Light. That's what he's known for.
Jesus.
Yeah.
DC is really fucking grim sometimes.
Yeah. They absolutely fridged her. That could be my background, just the panel where that happened.
No. Jesus. I like being monetized, thank you.
That is another point. How dark would you want these solo movies to be? Because if they're just solo pieces that are all artsy, they can be as dark as you want. So you can have the rapist there. You want the rapist?
Not a big fan of having rape for the sake of rape in movies, but that's up to the filmmaker, I guess.
But darkness is what I'm talking about, really, because pretty good identity and divorce away from the Marvel stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
DC's got plenty of them. They've got a lot of them. Look at Nightwing. Every Friday night he's going to get... I think he's... I remember seeing how many times he actually got friggin' sexually assaulted.
Oof. As I say, apparently in Zack Snyder's original idea for Batman vs Superman, he pitched that Bruce Wayne got sexually assaulted in prison. Like, I don't know if there's any validity to that. That's terrifying for me to think about.
Alfred! Under what context?
We don't know. We don't know.
That's the thing about Zack Snyder is he goes on publicly and he just spews headcanon.
Yeah,
it could be true or could not be true. The guy's a walking fan fiction disgrace. To be honest, he spews shit.
They had Stryker's Island, but without the prison. Was it going to happen there? We have to fight Doomsday on Stryker's Island away from the people, and then he goes into prison again.
If that was the idea, that's so dumb.
Tonight, something. God damn it. Parasite, maybe. Who was going to do it? Well, Beautiful Lie plays.
Look, I'm just happy that it wasn't there because
I need a Nightcrawler right now, Alfred. There's no hope anymore.
Like you don't want that in a movie for the sake of it, because it is something that will alienate your viewers inevitably.
Yeah.
Yeah, inevitably.
I mean, again, you know the Green Arrow prison island? No.
Hmm?
On the island, in one of the stories, I forgot where it was, Shadow has her way with him.
Oh.
While he's healing and dazed. Because I think she wanted a child. I don't know where else that went. Because it was in like one thing and it was kind of weird. So that's like the mentor.
Yeah.
That might be kind of out of no. If you really want to make him suffer on the island, I guess, and be punished for being a capitalist pig, where your money means nothing in the jungle, boy.
Is there anything or any character, anything you wouldn't like to see make the big screen, either because you don't think they do it right or just wouldn't be interesting in a movie?
I don't like Mad Hatter because I know how hypnotherapy works, and that's just not it.
Yeah.
I think he destroys the realism of Batman, even like more than friggin' Poison Ivy does or anything. There's ones that it's strange because there's ones that are boring, but they could be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, like that's the friggin' another thing that's disappointing me about the CW. If Green Arrow is not good, make him great. Make his characters great. Instead of stealing Batman ones, for Christ's sake, and even they're not good. Firefly was literally just a fireman who saved.
Oh, I remember that one. That was that annoyed me.
Yeah,
it was like part of like the Firefly like firefighters unit, and he had like this tattoo on their neck. It was like really dumb. They burnt him at the end of the episode. Like, oh, I want to burn watching it.
They have ideas for a Deadshot movie, and they want a Black Adam movie actually.
Yes.
That's not bad. Black Adam is their Doctor Doom, basically.
Yeah.
And, well, good luck making a Doctor fucking Doom movie. How many attempts have they had with him and they fucked up? The rights issues. So take that chance immediately.
Yeah.
Get Black Adam there, have him steal everything, and then Doctor Doom will look like the ripoff.
They're geniuses.
I don't think I don't think they'll do Black Adam right at all. To be honest. No, I think it'll just be like some slightly goofy hints of comedy action movie.
Is it going to be like Will Smith, where instead of Deadshot, it's just Will Smith being Will Smith? Is it just...
Well, I've not seen a film apart from. No, actually, no. I've not really seen a film where I can say The Rock's played anything above a different pitch of The Rock.
Yeah,
it's typically just like action movie. Maybe I'll chuck somebody about. I'll hold a gun, bit of comedy.
His most unique character is the fucking Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
Don't remind me about that.
You know, for Black Adam, I'd say he got the build, he's got the look, because I can picture it visually.
Yeah,
but for tone, I don't think it's going to be right. I just don't think
it would have to be quite brutal, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it would. Yeah, it would.
Because he's a dictator. This is a Kim Jong-un film, except Kim Jong-un is a god. Okay. There's a bit more to it. There's the grey morality as well. Like, he's not that evil. Kind of like with Doctor Doom, he actually cares about his country. But every other country can go sod off.
Yeah, because he'll do it for his people. And that dictates his interests, typically. And his people live quite well. Yep. So...
Seize that. Don't wait for Doctor Doom to come back. Like, jump at that opportunity. I think that's one of the only films I'm looking forward to. Well, I'm not looking forward to it. Again, I don't think they'll do it that well, but that's one of the golden opportunities that they've got, really. It's obvious that The Rock's there for... Do you think he'll actually do good? He does. He shaped the part. I don't know if he can act the part. He shaped the part.
The Rock isn't an incredible actor, but that's not why you hire The Rock. If you see what I'm saying. No. He just oozes charisma. He's there for the action scenes.
No, you hire him to sell a movie because people go, "Oh, The Rock, I recognize that guy."
Yeah,
let's go watch it. But, you know, if you want somebody that's going to do some character justice and make a movie that's more, you know, a genre piece, a solo film can hold up on its own, isn't just going to go into some crash bash in the next movie where it's like, oh, all of a sudden it's Captain fucking Marvel, well, Shazam versus Black Adam.
Yeah.
Then The Rock's not the right choice at face value, to be honest.
It should absolutely contrast Shazam. Let me tell you. Shazam is very light-hearted. You know who else might? If you want to do artsy, You could make a really schizophrenic film with Reverse Flash.
Ooh.
Because his entire life, he can appear anywhere, and he's a nutcase, and he's run.
What are you saying?
Look,
Oh, go on.
go on.
I was going to say you could make a Memento type movie with Reverse Flash. Yeah. You'd need Chris Nolan, of course.
Oh my god! Because then again, what's scary about him is how he can appear anywhere at any time and just murder you in your sleep. And a movie from his perspective might ruin that because there's a bit of mystique to him. Like when he just interrupts other stories, that's when he's at his best.
It was me, Barry.
Yeah. Oh, they used him in The Button. Have you seen that, Jack?
Yeah. And he kind of just appears, and he's like, he says he sees God.
Yeah.
And he's Dr. Manhattan. I thought it was quite cool to a degree.
Yeah. My God.
Cool cover for that issue as well, actually.
Great character.
Like
if you want an example of even this guy went mad when he saw it, that's a good character to use.
They dragged that on for way too long, though, that whole story with Dr. Manhattan being in the DC universe. Apparently that got dragged on way too long, and the conclusion came, and it was like, okay. Because like they all went to go fight him on like the moon, and he was just like pointing at people and making them like just disappear.
That's what happens when you make someone too powerful. Disappear. You know.
I guess so, but I like the idea because what I thought they were going to do with that storyline was I thought they were going to say he left the Earth in Watchmen and then made the DC universe. Because then I thought that would be pretty cool.
They have to subvert expectations. Everybody had that expectation, didn't they? And subverting expectations for its sake is automatically good, apparently. I want that to die. Yeah. If he made the DC universe, that'd be pretty awesome.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. I guess the next question. Go.
Speaking of the Flash, though, right? Yeah, the Rogues.
Yeah,
you can have their own film. What's unique is, right? People say the Flash is really powerful, and it's like that's why they team up all the time. So Captain Cold has a gang of Flash villains like Mirror Master, Web Wizard, all that. His sister. It's literally 8 bros sitting in a hot tub 5 feet apart because they're not gay, apart from Pied Piper. The movie. They're great. Arguing about drugs and shit. And you can have like I don't know how to name it, but one of those freaking dark comedies like The Hangover or something.
Yeah, I was about to say like The Hangover.
Where there's an ensemble movie and everybody is a fucked up person, except they're all supervillains. You can just have that film.
Oh, that'll be a good one, actually.
It's a crime gang film where they're all supervillains, yeah.
DC have a lot of people they could do that with, though, don't they? Like lots of gangs and people like that. You wouldn't want to do it with all the high-profile ones like Penguin and that, but maybe a bit further down.
With the Rogues, everybody is like with Penguin. Who are you going to focus on apart from Penguin in his gang?
Yeah, exactly.
Joker and Harley. There's no one else, but there's a team of well-defined characters in that where they have their own struggles. So you got Mirror Master, who's a friggin' Scottish dude and girl who discovered the mirror dimension and managed to master it. But he's also a coke addict, which is great.
Awesome.
Peter Capaldi should be playing him in Suicide Squad, let me tell you.
Do you know what?
Imagine disappearing into mirrors.
Fuckety pie.
Yeah, fuckety pie. Yeah.
That's
good. Scottish representation right there, by the way.
Yeah.
That's it. They'll have a great big stereotype and he's awesome. Like Captain Boomerang. You gotta love him. He's brilliant as hell.
Yeah. Absolutely. Who else? The question I was going to ask is then, so that's about characters you wouldn't do and stuff like that. I'll go back.
No.
Oh, go on.
I'm just talking. Rogues, absolutely. Reverse Flash, maybe. If you want to be really artsy.
Yeah.
Gorilla Grodd couldn't have his own film, I don't think, because that's a really bizarre concept. I don't know how you put that in a film. It's like the man with super speed faces a city of gorillas for some reason. There's an overall theme. There's an overall theme of science in the Flash and scientific achievement. But gorillas would just be kind of weird. Then again, they're kind of popular right now because of all the memes and Kong and all that. So now would be the time to put Gorilla Grodd on screen.
Yes.
It's never going to work. It's now.
Yeah. Go on, do it.
Well, why not Detective Chimp then?
Oh yeah.
Do a Detective Chimp solo movie.
You don't want that to be Howard the. Yeah.
And to the MCU though.
Detective Chimp, yes. Monkey Cinematic Universe, where it's just Ultra Humanite and Grodd. No, the cat. Where everyone's a gorilla.
That's the only way Kong will beat Godzilla. He just summons all the monkeys from history.
Every cinematic monkey ever. Including that one that The Rock was with.
Yeah.
I could talk you about that film as well, but not a topic.
No. Maybe another time. What about storylines then? So comic book storylines that we haven't seen on screen, what would you do, what wouldn't you do?
Okay, again, setup. Because they'll be products of an established like you can't just jump into killing Joker, I don't think.
No.
Gotta know who Batman and Joker are and what their relationship, and then it works.
Gotta know Barbara as well.
Yeah.
So.
Year one, I feel like the Batman might probably be borrowing from this, but year one.
There we go.
Why not just take that? That's got a good setup, decent story, puts you into the world quite well. You know, and there's other year ones. I think there's probably a Superman year one. I'm sure there was, or something like along those lines. So you can just borrow from those comics where other writers have tried to establish a first year of a superhero.
Oh,
I think.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. Would you? Okay, so are we going to assume an origin movie has already happened then?
So let's say so. Yeah, yes, for now.
Well,
we've had
all these movies for general superheroes. So I think most people, I'm talking like maybe likes of Batman, etc. Yeah. Most people know how they started out. So
they
jump in like half a year or their first year of their crime fighting career.
Because you can get away with, I think it would almost be insulting to people's intelligence to do another Batman origin, if I'm honest with you. Like from day one, from seeing the parents and all that sort of thing. It's why, go
on. Well, it's a different version of Batman. So not entirely. You sort of kind of have to do it differently.
Yeah.
Like the League of Assassins. We've never actually had Batman's proper origin. Because he went all over the world and met all kinds of people to become who he is. It wasn't just like the League of Assassins.
Yeah, and he just blew up a monastery full of fucking ninjas.
Get shot in the alley over and over.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's only so many times you can see that.
You don't even need that.
Yeah.
What if a Batman origin movie starts with him on a plane and we later learn about how his parents died in the city because they were rich and all that? And I want to... There was a Gotham Knights short where he was being taught how to stand on burning coal without getting off it. I'm looking for a way to deal with my pain. And it cut back to the present where Batman was shot and in the sewers and he had to look after himself because nobody could retrieve him down there. So he was colonizing the wound and all that. And it was all about how he could deal with physical pain. Have that. You say that, another Batman origin story. We've never actually had it properly. I don't think we've had the scope and the scale and all the places he went to before on screen. So that's not strictly true. But that's if you want to be true to the frigging comics, which is all I want with these films.
Page for page.
Okay. So you could easily have that. It's actually one of the longer origin stories. So with like the Flash, it's easy. He gets struck by lightning and then he's got the powers.
Right.
With Batman, he actually has a very long origin. It lasts a decade, you know what I mean, of his life training. It's like Green Arrow. That can be its own film. And while he's on the journey, you could question the morality. Like, as soon as he gets to the Batcave, like, what the fuck am I actually doing? Am I really doing this shit? Am I going to build a supercar? Yeah, I've come this far. Let's do it.
Fuck it, supercar.
Yeah. mean, imagine how Alfred will feel throughout. You can make an entire movie about Alfred just
Alfred's
watching
responses, yeah.
Your nachos, sir. Are you sure about this?
The hard liquor,
late
sir.
for work again. Jesus Christ, man. So yeah, that boring. If you ask me.
Yeah.
All about execution. But some have very simple origins, like Hal Jordan. So he's just tested as a flight pilot one day, and all of a sudden the ring comes to him. And then it's a bunch of exposition. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can have it on the Earth for a while before the little tiny men from outer space come down with their gowns and say hello. Join the fucking war effort out billions of light years away. We got to trust it's just wreckage some shit. And yeah, you can make an entire point about how soldiers think they're cut out for it, but no, they're not.
I mean, they could always just use Alan Scott first and then just pass it on.
Which
that character gets overlooked.
It doesn't have to be Hal Jordan. Which Lantern would you have?
John Stewart, because I grew up with him on the animated series, so I was actually used to that one before I even knew about who Hal Jordan was, to be honest.
I think you're the same, aren't you, Flynn?
Yeah. Because representation, bro. No. As I said, the most known incarnation in the animated series is probably the one Jack's talking about. So that might be
he's a Marine. He's one of the more practical ones.
Yeah.
So with the characters, they could be more artistic or something. And he's quite stern, big man. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
There's a lot you can do with that.
But that would be high budget. If you want Green Lantern, it's got to have a budget.
Yeah.
If you want the lower budget side of things, what do you think?
When you say that, I'm thinking more things like what Joker was, because I can't imagine there was much in that movie that was massively expensive.
Or, well, there are superpowered characters where they don't need a budget. I'm sure the Flash CW is very cheap because all you need is for him to go like that, and then you just CG a bit of streaks, and that's it. You don't need a Green Lantern live-action show would be horrendous without £1 billion per episode or whatever.
It would have to be like Game of Thrones level budget for it to work.
Yeah, and even then, you'd get frustrated at how little action there is because it costs £1 million.
Yeah, that's better for movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want shows, to be honest, because it kind of mixes things up for me.
Yeah,
and what if you have to get one of those DC accounts and check it out if you don't want to pirate it?
There you are.
You need Disney Plus. I'm not doing that shit. So I haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't care. Put it on the big screen or get out.
With the stuff a minute, it seems like they're starting to wind up the CW generally, and they're going to start doing HBO Max exclusive stuff. So that's where the future of the shows are going to be.
Can it actually be good?
Yeah. Now that I wonder what shows would we like to see out of that, and we already have like massive amounts anyway. We have Green Arrow, we have Flash, we've had Gotham, we've had Swamp Thing for one episode.
I beg to differ. We haven't had Green Arrow and Flash because they're crap. We haven't had Green Arrow. He hasn't been. Look, you should love him. He's Bernie Sanders with a bow and arrow. Okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah? Free healthcare.
Yeah.
Don't make him that rich. I'd say is one thing.
Okay.
He doesn't use the money that Bruce Wayne does. He doesn't have a friggin'. So he doesn't have to be. And if he's gonna stand up for the poor, the hypocrisy of that is a good storyline.
Yeah.
How do you fight the man by the man, but not a billionaire? You don't need to be one. Tone it down. Don't make it like Batman. That's one thing. Which is a minor thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Millionaire. That's it. That's fine. There's loads of them.
Are there any heroes who would do better on TV than they would in film? Do you think? I personally think Spider-Man from Marvel's side would do it.
Constantine.
because you just want more Constantine, wouldn't you? 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. He did well when he had the show for himself, and the occasional CW emphasis on occasional CW appearance was good. And the thing is, like you say, each time you see him, you go, "Why am I not getting more of this? And why, what the fuck are DC doing by not giving me this guy playing Constantine all the time, 24/7 to the point of exhaustion? What are they doing?"
About him, I want to skip work. I want to become homeless because I'm watching Constantine. Yeah,
there's so many good stories that nobody's actually read from Hellblazer, and it's been going for years. I've got loads of them, and there's so many good stories that can be done on a low budget as well. Because he's always like trying to find like cheap ways around things, so to say. Like sometimes not even using magic, just like using like parlor tricks.
Oh,
yeah.
You've so many seasons worth of crap that they could do, but somebody's just sat there going, "We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that." Well, I don't know. Here you go. Legends of Tomorrow instead. You enjoy that, won't you, kids?
Also, Scouse representation. Yes, please.
He's biased.
Apparently, they want to change him. Apparently, they want to do a new thing for HBO Max, which is supposed to be a Constantine movie or a possible new series, where he's from London, and they want him to be cast by a possible Black or Middle Eastern actor instead.
They want to make it Luther.
Yes, yeah, they do basically.
Interesting.
No, it isn't. It's London. London.
Yeah, give me my Scouse character. That's all I want.
Yeah. There's another. You ever heard of Manchester Black?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I like that character. He's cool.
Another story, Superman versus the Elite, where again you would need to set up. You can't just make a movie out of this. I don't think, because you need to. Well, I guess you can, because it does establish who Superman is. But that's his. Hero who kills villain. I think everybody has that in their gallery. But he's a purple-haired, leather trench coat, wearing Union Jack tattooed on his torso. Accent that's probably Manchester, probably Liverpool.
Yep.
And yeah, he mentioned Heaton Park once.
Chris can play him.
Younger. Imagine if Christopher Eccleston played that instead of Malekith, which
was
his unique working class attitude played no part in that character. And they got him because he's famous. That's a character he'd be built for. I don't know if he'd do it though.
If you didn't own the Manchester flag,
have a Coronation Street sounding motherfucker play him,
Yeah.
I've got to show you that film actually. You know what? It's amazing.
So I've heard I grew up with, I say grew up, but there was someone I knew in college whose favourite DC character was Manchester Black. So I knew quite a bit about him from him.
And he is an utter stereotype, but he's awesome.
Yeah. DC seems to be quite good at that.
They're good at stereotypes that are good. Yeah, absolutely. There's actually And they'd have the stigma of changing it in live action films though, wouldn't they? I'm pretty sure Manchester Black was in the Supergirl show and he just didn't look. I think he was actually American as well.
What?
Maybe Black from.
I think he was. I'm positive he was. I remember this. Yeah, I think he was like genuinely Black. I don't think nothing
only
played
kind of
part.
stereotype worked is in The Boys with Frenchie. That kind of works. And even then, in the books, it's kind of all right.
I'm not bothered about the race, but the man is called Manchester Black.
Again! Oh, fuck!
What?
Black people are well known right now for being characters who have black in the name, even if they weren't in the first place, like Black Canary, and for replacing gingers. Hot take.
Well, to be fair, gingers don't deserve representation.
So many
I'm joking.
gingers. They need it. I guess Lois Lane is a ginger now in the extended universe for some reason. So whatever. That's your representation. No, you can't have Wally West. No, you can't.
Wally West will be on screen one day.
Will he be him though? Because what they kept putting Wally West's persona for Barry Allen.
Yeah.
They keep doing that. No idea why.
We're saying that the
I don't
version
think they consider Barry Allen interesting enough for some reason. I think they just want some sort of like kooky kid character despite his age. He could be an old man and they'd still portray him as like a kooky kid that knows science.
How can the guy with super speed not be the funny one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a forensic scientist. They had that Sherlock shit going on in the first Flash episode, and that never happened again. He's a genius. He's a forensic scientist, man.
Yeah. I said, if
you
you're gonna
really fast,
you can do the dumbass one, and like say, just make him Wally West. Why splice the two together? It's like when we had Mary Jane in the original Spider-Man movies. They gave her a name, they gave her a look, and then she had the personality of a completely different person. Completely different person. She was a fucking bimbo. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm sure Mary... Not too familiar with Mary Jane, actually, but I'm sure she has a better personality than that.
Yeah.
I'm sure in the comics, she's actually quite good. I remember showing Mark, you know about that, don't you?
Yeah.
So I showed him what Iris West he was missing. It was her on a motorcycle running over Citizen Cold. Showed him that. It's like, that's what you're missing, bro.
Was he mad?
This happened. Yeah. We're the Flash, Barry. Fuck off, you're not Iris. You're not Iris. They could have killed her, you know. That would have redeemed her. She actually did die. Was it during the Silver Age? I think it was like one of the moments where they dared to kill people, like with Green Goblin dropping. I think it was like one of those where she died at a fancy dress costume.
Oh,
because Reverse Flash just showed up all of a sudden and went.
Oh, boy!
Yeah.
Boy, if you don't.
That's it. Reverse Flash can just show up and kill anyone.
Jesus.
He's an existential crisis, and that has to be emphasized.
Just put him in every show then. Whenever you need a character to die, have him do that, kill him, and then leave.
There's the idea that when he's not showing up, he's running away from time wraiths that are trying to punish him for misusing the Speed Force or something.
Jeez.
And when that's not happening, you're dead. You're dead. He's going to show up and slash your penis off with his palm.
Oh, Jesus. I guess then...
You know those memes? Where it's like, I made them take Lola Bunny's boobs away. So that you wouldn't be horny and you'd have a little less adrenaline and it would affect your speed. Slow enough for me to kill Iris.
It was me, Barry.
Like, you can never exaggerate those memes because he's always that petty.
Oh, God.
He is petty enough to jerk off the Flash at super speed. That
was the initial one, yeah. Fuck. I guess then, as like a closer, is there anything we haven't mentioned yet that you'd like to see on screen? Anything at all?
DC movies.
Yeah.
Anything from Vertigo?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Danny the Street, the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of good Vertigo imprints, to be honest, that go underlooked.
Doesn't everybody praise Sandman? I don't know why, because I haven't seen it. But everybody's saying it is.
No, I like Sandman. There's the Neil Gaiman Sandman stuff, and then there's also like the JLA Sandman, which is also a cool character in his own right, actually. So JLA, they're cool. They don't get often looked at. They're cool.
Some. I'll tell you what though. Are there any sequels that you'd want? Because we've been talking about standalone movies, but what about sequels? I've told you what I wish the Wonder Woman sequel was.
You have time, bro. You have time, bro. Go on.
Barbara is an archaeologist, same. She discovers that Greek myth was the true religion, and she fights for it to be like outed. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman doesn't know how that would affect man's world. But you'd have to talk a lot of shit about religion. I don't know if they have the balls to do that. Because imagine if you found out Zeus was God, like the friggin' swan fucker. That'd be terrible, wouldn't it? So you can ever be a Christian or something and like cheat her. And she's like, oh, well, this is the truth and it sucks, but it's the truth. Gotta tell everybody. Gotta tell everyone. And Wonder Woman has no idea how to handle that.
I really like that idea. It's a lot better than one Josh Whedon proposed all those years ago. I'm sure you've seen that.
I'd want it to be very cat and mouse. I want their friendship first and foremost, and then how they slowly turn into enemies.
Yeah.
Steve Trevor, there's no room for him.
No.
It was popular, like one of the only examples of a love interest actually being pretty good in a superhero film, which they never are. But you're gonna have to lose him if you want the movie to be good.
Well,
Instead of bringing him a Dreamstone, so he's possessing someone else, and then they do it.
I think I'd want a sequel to. Bloody hell, it's a tough one, that, to be honest. Because when I think of DC movies, I think the first one was so bad, I don't want a sequel again.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd love to see that film that was proposed with Scarecrow played by Nick Cage, which was going to round off the Tim Burton series.
He doesn't need the fear gas.
Yeah, and they were going to round off, and they were going to bring back Jack Nicholson's Joker in like some hallucination.
They're getting back all of them.
Really cool on paper.
All of the villains. Yeah.
It's really cool on paper, I suppose. I just want to see it, regardless of quality.
Yeah, I want to see someone edit that now. Just make a fan edit of it.
Yeah, it's just a 10-minute video on YouTube. Seriously, I've never heard of this before. Really? Is this true?
Yeah. I'll send you a link to a video about it later.
That's amazing. Nick Cage? Can there be a DC universe where Nick Cage is everybody?
Oh. I am annoyed!
He's Crypto the Super Dog even.
Bark!
He's Darkseid. Every single female Fury as well.
Oh my
God.
God.
Oh, the New Gods. We haven't mentioned them. Can a New Gods film work? Because the thing about the New Gods is that people only care about Apocalypse. Nobody cares about New Genesis. No one at all.
That's true.
It's true.
That's
They
so true.
Can't blame them.
Yeah. No, it could work, but it's one of them. It's the same with like the Eternals. I don't feel like the Eternals is going to work. I think that's just going to be another Inhumans, to be honest with you.
Christ, yeah.
People are overhyping it. It's just got it's got the cast value. I don't think it's got enough around it. To be honest, I think it's just going to be another Inhumans, where it's like people watch it and they go, "I want to forget this already. What happened?"
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's New Gods. New Gods should probably stick to Justice League stuff, I guess. It's actually a very difficult mythology to introduce because it's mental. And there's so much to it as well. Like people still don't really know what the anti-life equation is.
Yeah.
It sounds weird. And what is it? In Justice League, it was just a light in your hand. At the end, when it was finally revealed. What is that? That's the equation? What the fuck? Am I supposed to imagine like a formula where as soon as you finish writing it, the universe blows up?
Jesus.
But yeah, you can go cosmic horror with it. But, yeah,
that would be high concept though. That would probably be another very costly one to make, right?
Oh yeah, probably.
Which is fine. DC do have money if they have Warner Brothers.
Well, unless you do the supernatural thing where you just get like men in jackets playing werewolves or men in jackets playing vampires. Just don't spend any on budget. Just just have normal people playing monsters. Just have normal people playing New Gods in a coffee shop.
And that's
just pretend it's
fucking Goodfellas, but with the New Gods.
At least like that one panel. Oh, that was Thanos, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thanos got nicked.
What?
By New York cops.
Oh, not even he can escape it. Jesus.
You gotta find. Even he was racially discriminated against.
At least on another planet, so. Yeah, absolutely.
Illegal alien!
A point of,
I'll show you the panel, man, and it can
please
just forever.
The point of like all of this video generally is like, I personally feel like DC have quite a unique opportunity at the minute. If they play their cards right, they could possibly make a very good alternative. Because I can't.
There's no such thing as a bad character, just bad execution. And a lot of them have potential because they've had it in the comics where they're brilliant with solo series or major focus. So there's all kinds of things you can do in the movie, and especially to contrast Marvel, who will just do a straight up funny superhero movie.
Yeah, got it.
I'll tell you how we can end this.
Mm.
Fleming, we've banned you from talking about Joker and Harley. You might as well just go on. What's your idea? And I'll tell you.
Well, the Jared Leto Joker. Very simple. Have it that he is just the idea. He is basically a Joker fanboy. He's
the idea, the state of mind.
Yeah. I'll be a friend. No, he's gone. And then we get in anybody else to be Joker. Literally anybody else. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Mads Mikkelsen taking someone else's role. That can happen. That's fine by me. Just get someone else in.
I think none of the major celebrities right now could play Joker. I think it's someone who we don't know yet, because that's what it was with like Joker.
Yeah, absolutely.
But none of the people in Hollywood who are big right now.
Hear me out though, Willem Dafoe playing Jack Nicholson's style of Joker.
He was already Green Goblin, man. He's claiming that.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't. Yeah.
And
again, he's kind of old for it now.
No, of course. Like, see, the main thing for me right now is I feel like there needs to be an alternative to Marvel, because I feel like Marvel is getting very stale. I liked WandaVision. Falcon and Soldier was all right as well, but
they always revert back to they start on something where they think, oh, Marvel are changing up, then they go back to what they usually do.
Yeah,
that's what WandaVision started out for me. I'm like, this is pretty Lynchian. This is like quite surreal. And then they go back to big superhero fight. I'm gonna go see in a bit.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
The new 52 style DC animation films ended on one hell of a note.
Yeah,
because they felt like they could. Darkseid invades, and Jesus Christ, it's graphic. Wonder Woman gets a friggin' episode. And by the end of the war, everybody's so fucking depressed because there were people who died. Cyborg died even. John Constantine just said to Flash, "All right, just reverse time, will you? We're not living with this shit."
Yeah, I like that.
Stands up, runs, and then that's the end of the cinematic of that universe. So what that also does is set up whatever comes next.
Yeah.
But they had the balls to end it on a dark note. And I think with Darkseid, you have to do that.
Yeah.
I think that you can't have a filler episode with Darkseid.
No.
If Darkseid shows up, shit has to go down and hope has to be destroyed, because that's what he is.
Yeah.
And imagine if the extended universe ended that way, because they've got the idea of Darkseid invading the world and it's a post-apocalyptic nightmare. And for that just screams reverse time. They're going to reverse time and we're going to know that everything's all right. What if instead you have a battle and some people die and that's how it ends?
I like it, but they won't do it.
Yeah.
But this is a thing. DC, if they play their cards right now, could become the film goers' favourite, I think, or like the cinema appreciators' favourite. If they really... Yeah. I think that they really could do that, because they're not going to get Marvel's audience. It really is that simple. That audience is for Marvel.
Yeah. And Marvel has claimed that already, and they're good at that.
Yeah.
You should be good at your own thing.
Exactly.
If only from the very beginning, Zack Snyder had someone to just keep him on a goddamn leash.
Yeah.
And make him be true to the original. And we could have had a moody and an artsy, visually splendid cinematic universe, but one that's more true to the comics.
Absolutely.
And it wouldn't be in the friggin' mess that it is now.
No,
as long as it is a mess. Solo movies, yeah, sure, why not?
So to end on that note, DC, balls in your bloody court, do something about it.
Yep. Make the road.
Yeah.
No one will watch it except me, but I'll be happy. That's like the one I want.
Great stuff. I've learned a lot today. Fucking hell.
Last word, Scott?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come and talk to me about this, explain all of this to me. It's been wonderful. See you all very soon.
You won't listen to it anyway. You only want Joker shit. Doesn't matter.
Why don't you just want to she goddamn edge toe.
You want some Bernie Sanders Disney crap?
Oh, no, guys.